Good turnaround Tuesday, everybody. How's everyone doing? Hello, Alexander. Looking for 4980, Jim Walsh's number. Hi, Shahab, James, Michael, AJ, Bran, Kman is here. Okay. Sinatra, Andrew Pearl, Laura, and Zolt. So Zolt, that's a new name to me. Welcome to Face. Unless you've been here and just have been lurking.
You
And
know,
so
it's
good.
funny. You said something, Dale, and you said, good morning, Kman is here. I looked over and in like the panelists, I don't see him or Ryan. I just see you.
Huh.
But
I'm here.
apparently yeah,
Yeah,
apparently they are here. Then I looked over at another list and you guys'
whoops.
names are here, which
We're
Zoom's got a
hiding.
little. I just was understanding where Dale was coming from.
Oh yeah,
So,
because I only saw Ryan at first on the panelists when I checked a
yes.
couple minutes ago.
Anyway, good to see you guys here. And Dale, I'll let you continue on.
All right, buddy. So Ryan, looks like there's pretty good potential for this to finally be turning. And I wanted to ask you a question as a trader. So, I got long at about 85.52 or 4, and, I was early, but, 2, 3 days later, I was down 30, 40 pips. Um, it kind of told me I was on the right track, that, if I'm wrong about picking a turn and I'm not getting run over in a couple of days, it kind of is a message to me that I may have been early, but I'm onto something. Do you experience that? Because I know you hold positions too.
Yeah, the art of going too early. It can be a curse for more than a few traders. I always do it when I'm long term trading, get that FOMO kicking in. Yeah, there's a bit of support for this one at the moment. I'm not
Never got down to
sure.
85.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not sure we're out the woods just yet. We've got the BOE coming up as well. So, but what I'm
okay,
thinking from this one, because I was sitting with a couple of bids at 85, just ahead of 85. So I was looking to get the same, add back into my longs. We haven't got there. I would think if we get a pretty hawkish BOE, and we're trading about this level now, I think if you get a dip that doesn't break 85, that's your signal. That's
okay,
your key moment. So yeah,
okay.
you're in it. You might get a few pips out of it before the BOE, hopefully, and then you
Okay.
can maybe take it off for the risk event.
Is cable weaker, just a little evening up in front of the BOE, or is there anything else moving it to the downside? Because, we haven't seen this in a while. Maybe one day
Yeah,
out of the last 30 where cable is expressing more weakness than euro.
I think it's more euro strength than cable weakness. For once, the data out of Europe, I wouldn't say it beat what the UK was doing, but we had pretty big inflation numbers from Spain, showing sticky inflation, good GDP numbers, well, better than expected GDP numbers from most of the eurozone countries, bar
Okay.
Germany. So no recession today for the eurozone, and you find the euro a bit better bid. It's not just saying everything's fixed, but it's
Right.
been all sort of UK, and now it's the euro's turn.
Quote, I think I'd like to buy the euro if it traded down to 108, unquote. Blake Morrow yesterday.
Good call.
There you go.
You know where it
So,
bounced?
yeah.
Right off the 50 fib.
Yeah. So, Blake gave you guys a great entry for at minimum, scalp. He's not looking for a home run ball. I think the most he's looking for, and I know I'm speaking for you, Blake, is maybe back to the top of the megaphone line,
Yeah,
nine and a
I
half
think
or so.
I think I bought it at 108. I want to say 108.10. I
Yeah.
got long a big chunk and then I spun out of it like at 30 pips higher. Like after Janet Yellen's treasury announcement, I took it off because the dollar got smashed after that and then that was it. It was it.
Okay.
It was a
Anyway, great call and
thank you.
nice share with the F.A.C.E community yesterday.
Thank you, Coach.
So I mean, just that pays for a subscription or an account on Traders Funding. So anyway, let me move over. Well, let me stay with you, Ryan. So we had a pretty decent dip in yen, but just to support. I think isn't it all going to come down to what seems like it's going to come down to the Fed and then come down to the NFP Friday. Um, yields dipped pretty good yesterday. Yesterday, it felt like the market was definitely expecting dovish call.
Yeah.
Yields were dropping, dollar was under pressure, equities continued to melt up. So, when I look at the 10-year here, is it possible this was, just a little pullback and now we're going to run again and take out 420? So,
Yeah, I think that move lower in yield reflects a bit of easing tension, shall we say, for the quarterly refunding stuff that was out
oh,
yesterday.
okay.
Drawing that came down by 56 billion for Q1, and the Q2 seems to be looking okay. So perhaps not the stress in bond markets that the market was expecting with all this heavy, fresh funding that they need. So it's probably a bit easing on that side of things. Still holding 4%. So, 420, that's your range for now. See what happens with the Fed. But dollar yen, yeah, I think we're waiting on the Fed. But we've come through several Feds, several BOJs, and we can't break out this range. So what I'm looking for most of these events, if it's not a game changer, to roll with the moves. If you get a spike higher, spike lower that hits one of the edges, then I'll be looking to potentially counter trade it.
Hey,
Now,
Dale. Before we move along, Ryan mentioned something. And I think everybody. I think it's important. Ryan, if we explain the QRA a little bit, maybe Kman would like to do this too,
yeah,
and jump in here. Just because when the Treasury announced yesterday the amount of issuance, it came in a little below expectations, right, Ryan?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we know
Okay.
that the market's been it's been worried about the amount of issuance coming up. So to have them dropping it down brings a bit of a relief.
how about
Right.
duration?
So yeah, well, no, we won't know the what duration is where the allocation is until
Well,
Wednesday. And I know K-Man would probably like to break that down, but more importantly, I just want to mention that the issuance wasn't as much. So, bonds rallied as a result, yields came down, dollar got hit, stocks rallied because they're like, oh, less issuance coming to the market. Everybody else was like, in the currency market or in the bond market was like, oh shoot, less issuance. That means we're gonna have to buy bonds, because if we want our bonds, if we want to buy bonds, we got to buy them now because there's less issuance. So the bond market rallied, dollar sold off. Anyway, hopefully that
okay.
just kind of clears it up on a
Okay, and
most
here's
basic level.
my view on the TLT is that this is an A.
Yeah, it's a bull flag too.
It's an A, and that we could rally to correct this,
Mm-hmm.
and then wherever the rally terminates, then we'll get something equal to. So if we go to 98, then we could get to maybe 88. But I don't think we're going to just blow to new highs in the bonds, even if yields continue. Just like I don't think we're going to take out 380 in the 10-year. We're not going to take out 380. I think between here and 4% is going to be good support for another pop. So anyway, the bond bulls will get what they want, but I don't think it's going to be a rally to new highs right away. I think it's still part of a corrective process that could go on a bit longer. K-Man, how are you?
Heidi, hi. Good morning.
Heidi ho,
Uh,
Heidi hi, Heidi ho. Wasn't that in a song somewhere? I
Somewhere,
can't
yeah.
remember. Yeah. Your take on cable here, with it being
Yeah,
40 lower?
I closed all my euro sterling shorts this morning, Dale.
Okay.
Because again, we were trying under 85.20, it didn't work. couple of articles coming out, a couple of things to look out for as well. Some border checks and stuff with the EU coming into effect tomorrow, the BOE the day after tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I just called it, enough on euro sterling for now. We didn't really straight away test that 84.90 figure, which I'm going to keep an eye on into after BOE. And the cable was already showing a few signs yesterday after that Treasury announcement that it didn't really want to bounce too much. So decided this morning to take it off as well. And that's me flat sterling right now. And it's looking a little more fragile because the stepping down of the offers seems to be done for now. We're back through this 85, 50, 55. It's looking a little bit better for euro sterling right now.
Yeah, so also the big formation to me, and actually yesterday when I was on Real Vision, I thought that there could be a short squeeze to take out the highs first because it was so stubborn. But we take out 26, that's going to get you 24. It's a little over a 200-point formation.
That 26 figure 10 is going to be some leveler because it's really stopped on there, been stubborn, had a quick try on the 126, but bounced straight away back to above 127.5. It's going to be a level, a real level, and the combination. We may need to wait for the combination Bank of England and then Fed tomorrow to really go for the test. But I feel a little less optimistic about sterling right now.
Okay.
Could just be a big correction, but of euro sterling. But it's done a bit. Euro is better bit, and sterling, on the contrary, is quite offered.
Yeah, that's Blake's favorite pair.
Which
cable.
one?
The British pound. Isn't that what you say? You
Isn't that the one?
It's still frustrating to this day. I'm so hit or miss with it.
That cost your laptop its life.
Yeah. I'm about ready to chuck another laptop one of these days. So
yeah, I wanted to ask the whole team here because I don't know, maybe I need to be stabilized, but I think this is a pretty special situation. And it's interesting that it's happening with the number one political issue, or what everyone's talking about, is the border. So, and this weekly structure is pretty bullish. The fact that on this pullback, we held prior lows. And perhaps what happens is if we get a border closure, then the duress of the immigration problem and also the responsibility shifts to Mexico. And, that could be the catalyst for a sell-off in the peso. So, that's something that I think could be a big trade, back to here.
That was my week ahead video. That was one of my trade setups, is just you buy it above 1740. It'll break the 200 DMA.
Okay.
Go pull up the daily chart.
Yeah, see, so we have the 50 week, and then on the weekly, and on the daily we have the 200-day, right?
Yeah, it's capped on both those spikes. So you get above that, and that to me opens up. There's a descending trend line that just comes in just above that, and you clear all those levels, and you'll be trading at 18 pretty quickly. It'll be a squeeze. It probably will coincide with some risk off, and I think that's the trade du jour. Kman, we've watched, and Dale, because you watch it, Kman and I trade it quite actively. You see these squeezes that come out of this market. When it squeezes, it's violent. It's probably one of the more violent currencies to be in, and to be squeezed if you're on the the receiving end of that.
Well, if this is a wave 3 or a C, we could have a fib extension of this move from here. So if you want to get real bullish, you would say, well, I'd look for 1.618 of this from here.
And an equal leg move would take us back to 19, or, or roughly somewhere around there. So yeah.
Anyway, wanted to see, are you guys positioned in here? I'd like to buy a pullback if the Fed, gives people what they want, maybe back at 17, and then be wrong under the lows.
I literally nibbled
thinking.
on it about an hour ago, Dale.
All right.
Yep.
God, so Blake had some pesos for breakfast today.
I did with my kibbles and bits.
All right, all right. All right, metals, with the war expanding, and I guess we're waiting for what the retaliation is going to be, unless it already happened and the market doesn't care. This is what I want to show. So remember, this was a big deal, this breakout. We had resistance for weeks. It kept knocking its head up against resistance. We finally had a breakout, and now we're back to it. So we could bounce, but if it's a false breakdown, that's going to be a pretty good signal for precious metal bull. So this means that in the last week or so, silver has really come back and outperformed gold. So this is a pretty important area for either for igniting the next bull phase in silver, in my opinion. So keep an eye on your gold silver ratio charts there. And that's all I have. Any questions you want me to ask you? Kman, you guys have any questions?
Ask me how my hair's
that was the weirdest handoff I've heard yet, actually.
I think, well, it's an original. It's the first time I've said it, and that usually means I'm out of things to talk about for right now. So
Brand wants me to talk about the border and
all right,
and get very political on this show, which I refuse to do. But I will tell you this: I'm just gonna say it, and I'll say it out loud. I do think that that the Mexican peso could be really, could get hit following, like if Trump makes some more headway against Biden. I think that's like almost a given.
Or what if Biden that deal goes through and he could close the border?
He could. I just, first of all, having an open border doesn't matter where you live, but especially here in the United States, I'm not in agreement with it because in the past we have been, we've actually had some people tend to forget September 11th happened, 20 some odd years ago.
You think they came? The bombers came?
No, but that shows you how vulnerable we are.
Yeah, we're not vetting them.
No, really. When you let undocumented people just walk in your borders, that's dangerous. I don't, and I'm just let me make sure I give everybody some color. I'm a patriot. I live in the United States. I am a combat veteran. I served in our military. So if I sound maybe a little bit, maybe
right,
far protectionism, there's a reason for that. But I also believe that you shouldn't just allow people to waltz into your country. Not especially if, I say especially, but being the United States, we do just because of the role that we play in the world, we probably have a lot of enemies out there. So therefore, I'm all about immigration. Let people come through and immigrate and through legally. A process. There has to be a process. Just to open your borders is absolutely crazy. So anyway, I said, I'm not going to go too far. I just wanted to say that I think it's crazy. It doesn't matter where you live. If I went to like, and just so my Greek partners know, and we all talked about this, at some point, I'd like to, pick up my things and spend a few years in Greece. And my wife, has her dual citizenship because she's half Greek. I'd love to go to and spend a couple years in Greece in the Mediterranean after my kids are in college, and do ForexAnalytix analysis from Europe. What type of, do you think they're just going to let me walk in and just stay there? no, I'm gonna have to go through. I'm gonna have to jump through a lot of hoops, and that's like that should be the way, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's it. Like that's it.
Bring a
I'm
lot
not
of cash. Bring a lot of cash, Blake. You seen how expensive it is over there these days?
I'm sorry.
Bring a lot of cash. Have you seen how expensive it is over there these
Oh
days?
my gosh, I know. Well, it's expensive everywhere, but yeah. And no, but I tell you, the border situation is out of control. This would never happen in the UK. This would never happen I mean, it does happen in parts of Europe. We've seen, things like this happen, but you got to shut your
Well,
borders.
they have open borders in Europe because of the euro. You can go from country to country in the European Union, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, in
Without
the
much,
European Union.
without much, within all those countries. I mean, you're not going
Right.
through the whole thing. So, well, that would
Right.
be like being able to go anywhere in the United States. So,
Yeah, I
same
mean,
thing.
look, crossing the border into Texas is like going into a different country. It is.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I'm joking. I lived there for like
IMF
13
urges
years.
BOJ to prepare for rate hike in case inflation flares. That's a headline.
That's a headline that you just made?
No, it's on Live Squat.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. What is that?
The
Oh,
top one.
prepare for rate hike in case. Oh, IMF urges.
Yeah.
IMF has been. They've been rattling a lot of headlines today. They said Russia's economy will expand much more rapidly this year than previously expected, according to the IMF, as President Vladimir Putin's military spending feeds through into wider growth. I mean, IMF they got their blowhorn today and they're letting it go.
Yeah.
So, hey, let's talk about a few things before we get too sidetracked. Today there is data coming out. We have consumer confidence. We also have JOLTS jobs openings. We have Case-Shiller house price index. But I want to go back before we go into some of those things. I want to go back to the sterling because sterling is under pressure today. Why? I mean, we had, was it the net lending data that came in, which was, by the way, way weaker than expected? Was that it? Was that what drove sterling lower, or were there some comments that we might have missed? What say you, Ryan, or Kman? Kman, you were answering.
No, there's been well, first of all, the consumer inflation has come down. The shop price index has come down from 4.3 to 2.9% year on year. That's one thing. And then there was a couple of articles also out and a bit uncertainty and also a border issue with the EU. Brexit is still ongoing.
Yeah.
9 years, nearly 9 years after, or no, 8 years, nearly 8 years after the fact, Brexit is still there. And I do think that the market was probably running a bit long sterling and then decided, okay, we've got a few events, we've got a few articles that are less buoyant for inflation, so let's take profit and sell a few sterling, and that's what's going on right now.
Got it. Well, it is trading a little heavy. It's amazing how tight this range has been. We stopped at the 78% retracement. This is weeks ago. And weeks, earlier this month, a couple weeks back, and we just can't get above that 78% retracement. But at the same time, we have really critical support here. So I would just I think I've written it for 2 weeks. 26 to 127.80 is your range. So your sandbox, I like to call it. You got to kind of deal with it. We happen to be right in the middle of it right now, but man, I sure as heck would be a little nervous being on the long side of sterling. But at the same time, this is the megaphone pattern we talked about yesterday in the euro. The euro looks like we're finding some support here, Ryan, because we hit the 161% extension of this last range. We hit the 50% retracement. The euro to me looks like we are range bound ahead of tomorrow's FOMC. What do you say?
Yeah, very much so. I was made the point this morning. If you take that fib back to the November high, we stopped at the 38.2. This time we've stopped at the 50 fib. You know, the fib levels are important. And the trend isn't breaking. That October trend isn't breaking until we start getting through that 50 fib. And if we can't do it over the FOMC, then, you know, yeah, we're range bound. But we are in a bit of a downtrend and have been all year. So that needs respecting. We keep making lower lows, and the highs are getting lower too. So it's 50-50 whether we break or whether we can hold over the FOMC. But I think this week you've got to look at where we close the week out. If we close the week out above 108, then we're probably stuck in a range and we trot back up to 109 or something. But if we close the week below 108, further downside, and 107's next.
That makes sense to me. So Dale, you know, yesterday I said, you know, give me 108 and, you know, I'll be buying euro. I did. And I bought a really big chunk of it yesterday and spun out of it. It worked out great. But you know what I'm going to tell you today, Dale, and everybody else listening? No. Give me 109 and I'm a seller, because you know, if we can get a little recovery like this, I don't think we'd make it up to this you know, this megaphone resistance. But if we can make it up here ahead of the Fed tomorrow, I'll take it. I'll take it. Okay. So I don't know if we're going to do it, but I'm willing to be in front of that later today if we can get up to 109, especially following the jobs data. Now, one thing AJ mentioned yesterday or today earlier, he said yesterday the earnings came out from Super Microcomputer, and the earnings came in above expectations and their guidance was ridiculous. And I saw yesterday, I thought I misread that yesterday, but I think I did initially. Anyway, I didn't play it, but I was watching it after the market because I was writing all of our analysis for the basic technical analysis on ForexAnalytix. Yesterday, pre-market or post-market, excuse me, it was up 5%, and now it's up 11%. This stock is just absolutely running away, and that's just going to give some tailwind to this tech sector, because remember, this is an AI play. So you know, you want a longer term stock to kind of you know, put away that has that NVIDIA feel. Just, you know, keep an eye on this one.
And .com feel.
Yeah. I mean, this is one that if AI truly is, like, you know, the next sector that we're going to be focusing on in the next, you know, 10 or 15 years, it's like, you know, NVIDIA and their play in the solar powered vehicle plays, you know, and AI and all that as well. So I think you can be looking here. But anyway, I digress.
You know, I heard an interesting story about AI. We're probably shorter time, but a buddy of mine is a trader. All right. Anyway.
No, go ahead.
We've had AI since the first Gulf War, because all the Korean and World War II vets that knew how to load a big ship with tanks and ammo and cement and everything, so it would float and sail. They weren't around anymore, and Stanford developed an AI program so that any seaman would know how to load a ship. So he said, you know, we've had AI. It started a long time ago. Anyway, I didn't know that. I thought I'd share it.
I have plenty of seamen that know how to load a ship. I had 2 kids. Oh, that was a bad joke. No one caught that. No, that was horrible.
That was a Steve joke.
I'm sorry. That just came out. I don't even know where it came from. It's 6 o'clock in the morning here. I have no idea.
What's a consonant?
Hey, let's go around the horn really quick. Just what are your best ideas? The data, by the way, let me just double check that. It comes out in like
2 o'clock.
Yeah. So it comes out in a bit. So it's upcoming. Just so you guys know. Yeah, it's about an hour and a half. So real quick, Ryan, what's hot on your radar today? What are you looking at?
Hot on my radar is the S&P. Still monitoring that one. We've had a decent break up.
We hit the 161% extension.
Over that. We got over that, didn't we?
Well, yeah. I mean, but we finally hit it yesterday. Yeah.
33, we're over that. It's going to firm up support at the break point, 49. 49.05, so that's my watch point. Yeah, this one's still going, and long may it last. I hope I get to that 49.80 Dale was talking about this morning.
All right. Very good. Well, yeah, the bulls are in charge right now. Kman, what are you looking at?
I'm looking at the dollar CAD because we had a test of the 134 this morning and it held again. And that's going to be an interesting watch. We also had a test of a bit of a channel support on EURUSD that broke for like literally 5-6 pips and bounced 2. So those are things that I'm keeping on my radar. Obviously, still watching the sterling, but for the time being, I've got nothing running. I'm may try it again, perhaps cable around 126 figure 10, but I'm starting to find sterling perhaps running out of buff, so I may equally look at a rally sell on the sterling. And that's about it right now. I'm leaving the yen alone until after the FOMC. And for the rest, I'm nursing my my dollar Swiss options, and that's it.
All right. Well, if you guys want to know more on how we're trading and what we're trading, like all you have to do is go over here in the ForexAnalytix community, go in the trades room and say, oh, wait, Blake added to his Euro Canadian. Oh, he picked up the dollar Mexican peso. Kman did this. Ryan did that. Our traders are doing this and that. Be in the trades room. That's where you're going to see not only what Ryan's doing, what Kman's doing, myself. You're going to see what other traders are trading inside there. And just to let you guys know, going on about what Kman just said, something that was brought up by Wuju in our chat room, and something that's being traded by me as well, is the Euro Canadian just hit the 618 retracement, 161% extension of this rally. So you can see the huge reaction off this double confluence right here. That is allowing for a big bounce. Anyway, Dale, that's it for us. I know you got an interview. Sorry, we ran a little bit late. We're going to let you take over with Gary. And everybody, thanks for being here today. Tomorrow's going to be a big day. Today's going to be a big day too. I think volatility is going to be seeping in. Make sure you're here tomorrow morning for the FOMC preview that you're going to get from us, and the QRA allotment preview as well. So we'll see you guys then. Thanks, Dale.
Blake, Kman, Ryan, I tip my hat to you guys. Good
Likewise,
job.
mate.
Really a really great show with you guys here. So
thank you, Coach. Great to have you.
Let's go with Gary. Gary appears on Fox a lot, Fox Business. And Gary, welcome back. Happy New Year to you, and looking forward to having a discussion. I see your charts here now are up on the screen.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you now, Gary. How are you?
There is a God. Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me as always.
Yeah, there is. So what are the chart gods telling you here?
So I want to just start out. Let me hold on. I got to move this thing so I can see my chart. There you go. Just with a couple of lessons first. And sure. My best, easiest trade of the year was NVIDIA. And this is a Friday, the day before it broke out. And, I do a radio show. And typically, I'm very specific, but sometimes I'm over the top specific. And I just basically said to my audience and on TV, if this moves above 506, buy the heck out of it. And just as a lesson to everybody, it never usually shows up picture perfect, the things that I have learned from pattern recognition and chart watching throughout my lifetime. But all we're always looking for is prior uptrends that went too far, too fast, that then have to go through a period of just sitting around and waiting until the next move. And if you look at NVIDIA, it went up to 502, came back, tested the 400, went up to 476, tested the 400 again, went back to 505, but the next time only hit a low of 450. And then in a couple of weeks later, it looked like it was going to break out, but the market came in, and I just thought it was just about ready. And the next day was the boom. right there. So we did buy the heck out of it. We sold down some at 620. Now it's 630. Here's the, if I can hold on a second. I got to get the real date in here, and it's, I think I can do that. Reset to today. And you can see that move. And of course, the other part of the lesson is always look to the cousin stocks. AI semiconductor. So we bought AMD, Broadcom, Microsoft, Facebook. What do they all have in common? AI, software, semiconductors, and we end up with a very good January. So very important. You never know when it's going to set up so perfectly. It just so happened. And typically I'll say, it looks too perfect. It's not going to work. Once it broke out, we thought this one was going to work. Now, here's another lesson for you, SMCI. So, another NVIDIA look. If you see, let's go to day before, you got 6 months of range. You do have the gap 6 months ago, but things are acting better. And then they pre-announce that day. Here's a lesson on something I did not do. They opened it up at around 340 after bouncing around 360 to 340. Yeah. And then I knew a move above 357 is buyable. Well, within seconds, it went from 340 to 370, 380. And all of a sudden, I don't own it. What the hell do I do? I know this thing, when it moves, it moves. And then it's 380. And then it's 390. Too extended for me. I'm not in. Great identification by me, and now I have a stock that went from 358 to it's 550 today. What's the lesson? Just buy the freaking stock. That's the lesson for everybody. When you see something, you know, Marty Schwartz, the man who wrote Pitbull, one of the great traders, my favorite line of all time as far as looking at charts and patterns is what we're doing is looking at a photo album for familiar faces. When you see those familiar faces, you gotta play. And if it doesn't work, we're smart enough, since we're so specific on where we're buying, we're doubly specific on where we're selling. So you lose a couple of percent. But look what happened here. I don't own this stock right now, yet I identify it for everybody else that the others bought, and I'm on the outside looking in. So just remember that. I wrote a bunch of, in my little diary, I must state that a lot of words that started with the letter F towards myself for that. Right. So just remember, again, let me repeat that line. It's the greatest line of technicians. We're just in a photo album looking for familiar faces. When you see it, just freaking buy it. And of course, the same goes for shorting it. So I just wanted to start with a little lesson on what I did and what I didn't do based on what we see. And we're all in the same kind of game. We're just looking for things that we've seen before. And as you know, fear and greed, whatever year it is, whatever month it is, will tend to repeat itself at given points in time. So we start with that.
So that kind of ties in with what I say, Gary, limit orders, limit success. Yeah. I mean, why go through the angst of waiting to be filled for a few points or whatever it is? It's really not going to change the risk-reward ratio that much, but at least you know you're in.
Bill O'Neill in his big workshop, so one of his favorite line is, buy the market. Just buy the market. Don't wait, because the market ain't going to wait for you. And that's that. Okay. So you have any questions to start?
Oh, well, do you have any questions you want me to ask you? I'm just kidding. All right. Besides the parabolic moves and the stars of the show, does what's happening in Intel, the downgrade, bother you? Because I have a story for you.
Well, as of yet, it hasn't. And look, we take all our information from the market, and here's your Intel with the nice little gap to the downside. But, you know, it doesn't worry me that much, because we watch the stocks we own, and if they're working, they're working. Now, maybe it will have an impact eventually. But all I can tell you here is the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index, and all we have is an index that got very extended, kind of climactic, and maybe is done. I don't know. But for me, it's a normal pullback. It's still way above the green, which is the 21-day, and certainly above the 50-day. And we'll always stay on top of it, be very judicious, and go from there. My biggest worry.
Go ahead. There is a trader that I've talked to, used to be a floor trader, said that in 2000, the bear market began or was close behind a downgrade in Intel. So it was a dot-com stock. So I'm just saying that he said he had a flashback when he saw that Friday. And
it was the day after Labor Day 2000. We topped out in March. We went through some wild swings. And then the day after Labor Day, Intel warns, and then we just cratered from there. I just don't think Intel is as important now as it back then. But we'll continue to watch. I did want to say one thing, and this is going to sound disrespectful to an outfit, but it really isn't. It's really things that I watch, and I never take on anybody in the industry. I don't put anybody down. The only person I actually talk about is Kathy Wood, because I get 1,000 emails on her and questions, even though she's down 70-some-odd% in 2.5 years, something I don't understand. So I'm just going to mention.
Star.
I don't understand, but God bless her, and I hope everything works out for her. I always only want the best for everybody. This morning, or maybe overnight, BlackRock upgrades U.S. stocks to overweight, and I'm just thinking to myself, now they're upgrading. They're upgrading. So I'm not saying they're wrong. I hope they're right. It's just one of those little things that I put in my file manager, knowing that we're extended, we're overbought. The sentiment indicators are pretty much off the charts, at least my indicators, which may or may not mean something. This just will add to it. We'll see what happens. On a broad thing, we're just stretched, extended, we're overbought. But on a daily basis, I'm still finding setups. I only have, let's see, here's China. That's a bear market. I've got the oils rallying up a little bit, so maybe the worst is over, but that's pretty much on the not the performing side. You got names like Nike and FedEx and whatever else is broken down. But overall, most everything, I'd say 75 to 80% of the market's in what I call uptrends of different levels because of the 10-year yield. And to be clear about this, here's the market and versus the yields this way. And then here's your market versus yields. And I'm just noticing where we're sitting right now. Bear markets are made of, you get stretched to the downside away from the 50-day, you rally up into the 50, and then you fall down again. So I think we're at a very important inflection point here for yields. And if we're still in a bear market for yields, we're going to head that way. And it's probably good for the market unless we go into a big recession, which doesn't look like it's happened yet, because I don't think I've ever seen a recession where United Rentals looks like that. So we're still on a treasure hunt every day. The biggest problem we have now is 6 stocks will be 34% of the NASDAQ 100 this week and 25% of the S&P, along with everything else we got to deal with. So, and the Fed. So I take a step back and, see what comes of it.
Any market message from Apple that held very important support at 180? I know because I had puts that expired. The 180 strike. I was waiting for the breakdown, but on this recent rally, everything has, left behind prior highs, and Apple's has not.
It's interesting. Here's where it bottomed, and here's where it bottomed twice at the 200-day moving average. So you use that as major league support, and Apple, which is I think $16 billion every point, which is quite amazing. If it ever breaks the 200, that'll be interesting. I'm watching to see if it gaps up above the $200 level, not the 200-day moving average, because if it does, that can be important. And I must tell you, there's been so much negative talk around Apple from people on the iPhone and this, that, and the other thing, and China, that I'm gonna if we'll see what happens on earnings, and we'll know a lot more. There's not much you can really take from it yet, except it's holding long-term moving averages, and of course, I think it's number 2 behind NVIDIA right now as far as importance to tech, but it can certainly take back over number 1, breaking through 200. And keep in mind,
I thought Microsoft took over the
well,
lead
in size, but I still think of importance. I think NVIDIA's driving a bus a little bit more, but Apple's right there. And again, if it breaks above the $200 level, and by the way, their earnings are actually reaccelerating a little bit, and I'm interested to see if they can grow their sales again, which they've been down for 4 quarters. So that will matter as we move forward. But for me, there's just 2 things. Markets acting fine, setups every day, but bullishness rampant, add in BlackRock, you keep that in the file manager, and you just find things. And if they break out, I'll just go through a list of names here. There's Adobe. If it breaks through 634, it's somewhat of an AI play. I'm watching Lululemon. Look where that's sticking, right at the 50-day, where a good stock will hold and turn up. I saw restaurants acting well. Here's Domino's breaking out. Chipotle breaks out yesterday, but they report very soon. So you can see I'm finding earnings and Caterpillar.
McDonald's doesn't look good.
Yeah, it failed. His Caterpillar looks like wants the higher. Yeah, McDonald's looked like it was going to bust out and just came down, but not really doing any damage. So as long as I'm finding names, I'm good with it. Just a few more I'm watching. DraftKings right here looks like. And notice I can do this. Burlington, look, if it breaks above 200. So I have a decent amount of names that I can show, and some that are already working that just moved about. There's Spotify above 203. So as long as that's happening, I'm in good stead. I know we're in a rougher market when there are no breakouts or breakouts are failing, leaders start topping out. Some of my greatest calls topping in 2021, all my leading stocks were topping out. So all you had to do was follow the bouncing ball. 2 days before COVID, the market got really hit. I owned like 6 names. They all started topping out at the same time. I'm thinking, okay, maybe this COVID is something. So until that occurs, it doesn't, and we'll continue to ride. I'm going to just show a few others. Here's Eli Lilly. And of course, they got those drugs.
Yeah, and a lot of different sectors, which makes it look broad.
Exactly. Here's Shopify. And let me just, I got to show the Russell, believe it or not.
I believe it.
Here's your Russell. Now that's wide and loose. But if you look at a weekly, just draw a line going back to June of 22. And man, oh man, if that sucker can get above that.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a lot of things to watch right now. I hope sentiment turns ugly again, but that will take some sort of
time
in the market first. But I just think so far so good, and we're having a very good January, and let's hope it continues. But I got a feeling we're going to get a hook in the next couple of weeks.
Would it be the Fed this week?
But possibly. But I don't think they're going to make any moves. That's my guess, and I've been pretty much on target with them. And they're so behind anyhow. The 10-year yields at 4.07. They're 5.5. So I don't until they're printing again like crazy. I don't worry too much. But financial conditions have eased big times in the last 3 months. That's what's helping also. And again, the most important thing to say is, as long as I got stocks to buy, I'm good. And you have even IBM, good reaction to earnings. I mean, if Blackstone's turning up here, I showed you United Rentals, and just look at some of these reaction to earnings.
The
Booz Allen, whatever the heck that is.
Financials.
American Express. I mean, that is one clean breakout that if it's, of course, it's got to stick, but we're seeing a decent amount of it. I can show you the Taiwan Semiconductor as they raise their numbers. I don't own it. I want to own it if it pulls back constructively. SAP in the software with the big gap. So, and then you got the financials that just act well. So I really don't have much bad to say except China, solars. It's easy to isolate the weakness right now, and we'll just continue to pay attention. And as we said, photo album for familiar faces.
What kind of face do you have on Tesla? Who's the relative?
Tesla looks like the south end of a northbound jackass.
All right.
And look, there's a rhyme and a reason. If you look at the bottom, you got two red numbers of earnings down 37 and 40. Because and by the way, Tesla, Rivian, what's that other one? LI. As we always, as I said at the outset, the cousin stocks, the whole electric vehicle thing is in disarray right now because of clear lack of demand. And the only thing I can say about Tesla, it's stretched and extended to the downside. But one of the, I guess, Magnificent Seven that's in a bear market. We'll keep a watch. If it retakes right in, come on, little guy. If it retakes this in here, just something to think about. But we like uptrends. We love like relative strength. And you can see relative strength is down to a 29 out of 99. And again, but it's a high beta name, and you never know what Musk will pull out of his hat. It's up 4 and change today. I don't know why. We'll see. I guess he did something with brains, I heard overnight.
With brains?
But yeah, he does a brain implant or a transplant or something. I don't know if you read about that.
No.
That scares the hell out of me. But anyway,
I was going to ask you about cannabis. They've had some of them have had nice recoveries. I don't know if it would qualify for the kind of stocks that you look at, but
this is what I tell this is what I tell my peeps. We're going to show you some weed stocks, something we don't usually do, but some of these Canadian ones, bingo, TCNNF, GTBIF. This is right. Let me see if the CRLURLF. Hold on, CURLF.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then you got like I was.
That's
noticing,
American. That's not Canadian.
Well, a couple of them are. Here's MJ. Looks like it wants to go, and then CGC. But remember, there's some bad ones here, and do not forget. Here's your monthly.
Right.
And all I can tell you, they were screaming at us to buy these things up here. I still remember that. So yeah, they look okay. But again, I'm a growth guy. I love tech. I love retail, and they're still acting well as we head into earnings. Interest rates seem to be staying down. They're down a little bit again today. But we'll just, we'll keep our eyes.
One of our attendees, Forex Gal, wants your view on gold miners. They're pretty cheap, but I don't think you see them as uptrend.
They're comatose.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I look at GDX, and then I always look at the big institutional name. Look at Newmont. Holy crap.
Yeah. Newmont had some mining issues. Yeah, we're making new yearly lows. You have to go back a few years.
It's amazing. And I'm always a big believer in commodities that the stock should be doing better than the metal in a bull market. Yes. So it's the opposite.
For a while now.
The gold, the metal looks okay in here.
Yeah.
I have no complaint about that. And there are a few stronger names. Actually, AGI also came down. What's the other one I was looking at a few weeks ago? Here, HMY. So there is some strength on a one-year basis in some gold names, but overall, man, it's just and very surprising too. And it's teased a couple of times.
Okay.
Anything else? Gary, ask away.
Well, yeah, everyone wants to know how they could follow you besides you being here every 3 months or so. And how they could get your stuff.
go to GaryK.com. We do have a consulting and email service. It's called convictionleaders.com. You can press the button right there, and we do 1 month free. And basically what we've turned it into is we give a lot of commentary throughout the day, and we do nightly webcasts showing you what we're seeing, not just telling you. And it's worked out pretty darn well. I'm surprised how good it's gone. But, we've had some really good, stocks, and that's what people want, and specific. So, so far so good.
We're getting another question from T. Baker. The uranium stocks were on fire all last year. Look
pause, when they pulled back to. Here's the uranium total index right into the 50-day. If this is going to work, this is around where you buy them.
Yeah.
I mean, a clean pull. And just so you know, pullbacks should look exactly like this from 10 or 11 o'clock down to 4 o'clock. And that's what it looks like. Here's some names: NXE, uranium, CCJ. They all look terrific here. Yeah, they all look the same. As I say, the school's a fish.
Where can people hear you on your radio show? Is it they get it on the internet or what?
We post it at GaryK.com every night. We pre-tape at 4 o'clock. We're in a bunch of radio stations that take it around 6 p.m. Eastern time, but we post it at GaryK.com every night, at our Twitter feed also, and it's also on Spotify, Apple, and all that other stuff. So we're,
okay.
It used to be called a radio show, but now it's a radio show podcast.
Okay, and the requirements to become a member of your fan club?
Requirements? What's a requirement?
To be in the Gary Kaltbaum fan club.
A smile. How's that? Yeah, just check out what we do, and
all right.
I think the most important thing we do is my motto: when wrong, be wrong fast and be wrong small, and when right, try to run them out as far as they want to go, which is, by the way, the hard part, because markets are a pain in the you-know-what.
And I just want to say that Gary is not always a perma-bull. So I've seen him when he's been cautious and right to be so. So
I'm the market. Yeah. I'm the market. If the market's bearish, I'm bearish. As I started this, we are been big bears on China forever.
Yeah.
We've been big bears on solars forever. We were bearish on the financials until this day right here. Yeah. I could go on and on about how we deal with markets. We are at the mercy of markets. We do not dictate to them. We interpret them. So if we go bearish, we're out. Just so you know, in the bear market, we were 100% in cash for our clients. 100%. Okay. From July to October, except for 3 mega cap stock names that we made money on, we were out of the market. On November 1st, we called a confirmation day that we thought turned the market, and that's an O'Neill follow-through day, and that's the day we turned. That was right in here. Right. So we are the market again, and it's just a photo album for familiar faces. And if we think things top out, we'll be out. Like just one example, we thought the housing stocks may start to get in trouble again, but they're still hanging in there. And if they break out again, we're good. If 97 gets taken out on the ITB, that's another story. So we're already on notice. So the market gives us clues before things get in trouble, but they have to confirm getting in trouble, just like November 1st confirmed to the upside. So we're not worried about the next bear market. We'll be ready.
Biggest mistake in the last 12 months?
SMCI.
Okay.
How you not own something that you were sitting and watching and ready to go on that morning, and just because it went from 350 to 375, and I mean literally almost a couple of minutes,
you didn't feel like chasing it.
At 375, you're saying to yourself, wait a minute, it just went up 30 points in 2 minutes. What if I buy and it drops to 30? And of course, you see what happens. So that to me, I should at least bought a probing position, a little extended, and go from there. And I didn't even buy one share.
We're always learning, Gary, and sometimes the same lessons over and over again.
Every minute of every day, bro.
Yeah. Gary Kaltbaum, everybody. Follow him on X at Gary Kaltbaum. And Gary, I love the energy you bring to our community, and we've been talking for years now. I want to thank you for your giving spirit, sharing your work with us, and edifying our community.
Well, you're doing great things for a hell of a lot of people. Keep it up. Education of people in their finances and money is so important, because I met too many millionaires that are broke because of buying NFTs and crazy stuff at the highs. So keep up the great work, my friend.
All right, and you too, Gary, my trading warrior brother, and that's going to be a wrap. People are saying thank you, Gary. They enjoyed, and you could
Quite
join
welcome.
the team. Yeah, and you could join the team in 15 minutes on the morning edge. Don't just count your winning stock positions or pips. Count your blessings that you have money to trade with, and you're not making a choice between paying your rent and getting your medicine. So that's a wrap, everyone. See you tomorrow.